And good morning. Welcome to Hot Seat. My guest is no stranger to this program, Chad Warmington, CEO, President, State Chamber. Good to have you back.
Thank you for having me.
All right, workforce development. We've been talking about that for a long time. The leadership has been talking about it. It got done, as they don't say in English class. But let's go back to last time you were here. You were saying this is a priority. The State Chamber really started this ball rolling, saying we got to do something about this. So something got done, which is what?
It's a great start, and it's been a 2-year process to get there. It was really led off when we did a survey of business leaders 2.5 years ago that said, what's the number one challenge to you growing your business or having your business succeed in Oklahoma? Workforce was number one by far. It wasn't even a close number two. For us at the time, it was a challenge because we didn't really have a workforce agenda. So we dug in, tried to figure out, all right, if the workforce system in Oklahoma is not working, how do we fix it? I think what we found is there was a lot of groups doing workforce, but nobody really coordinating it. And so what Senate Bill 621 does, that the legislature passed and the governor signs, is it creates a workforce commission. It creates the body that's going to collaborate and coordinate all the different entities that are doing good things in workforce, but they're going to own it and try to coordinate it so we put more lead on target, we get better education, skills training for the workers that we need to grow the economy we say we want.
Okay, so a Forbes article that I recently read said, well, we're in the top half of the country in terms of places to business, but in the bottom half in terms of supply. That seems to be the problem you've taken a look at.
Exactly. So the great thing for us is Oklahoma is a really attractive place for businesses to come and to grow. The thing that's holding us back is we don't have the adequate workforce to grow those businesses. And so what we want to do, again, with coordinating and collaborating with the entities that we have that are already doing workforce, we can grow that workforce to be a place that businesses come because of our workforce, not one that is restricting the growth of the companies that are here or preventing companies from moving because we don't have the skilled labor that they need to grow their businesses. And so again, we think 621 is the answer. Business-led leaders at the top in collaboration with the workforce, the training providers at the bottom, and where that middle meets and where that magic happens is understanding what we need, and then the people that are doing the training, the career techs and higher ed systems and the K-12 systems can put together the programs that we need to train the workers that we need.
Okay, I know Mr. Skarke would appreciate this one. All right, 1958, Packers, one win. 1959, Vince Lombardi comes along, 7-5, right? A change in culture. 2 years later, they're champions. The czar, as you've called it before, that's going to be picked, that's an important issue because you can take the same team, okay, and transform it just like that if you get the right people.
That's right. And I think the key ingredients, again, of 621 are 9 members at the top, all business leaders, right, from various sectors of the economy and various portions of the state. And why do you want business leaders there? You want them communicating because they very clearly know where the businesses of the state are headed and what their needs are. They will hire an executive director who will direct the team to go coordinate all those entities. So really, it's exactly right. If you have the best quarterback and the best running back and the best wide receiver, but they don't have the same playbook and they don't meet together, you're not going to have a very good team. But when you have a team that's being coordinated by a group of people who know what they're doing, we think Oklahoma is really set up to really thrive. You got great leadership at Career Tech, great leadership at higher ed, great leadership in our schools around the state. We just think if you can get coordinated and collaborated, we're going to be able to deliver the workforce we need.
Okay, this is one of those issues that plays out on social media, but we're really competing against people down south, which always gives us an opportunity to do this, which is offensive to them, but also north.
That's
okay,
right.
Kansas has been winning some battles with us. Is changing the team, putting a new coach in, coordinating all this, could we see outcomes differently?
Absolutely. We have the ability to compete with all of those states. Frankly, they're our neighbors to the south and to the north. But I think workforce is really one of the things that's holding us back. And so if we address that glaring need in terms of a skilled workforce, we'll have companies coming to us asking us to move to Oklahoma. It'll be a lot easier to recruit when they're coming and knocking on our door because of the career tech programs and the higher ed systems that we have that are getting kids the skills that they need. And by the way, that's not all just college-related kids. Get kids in a career pathway that gets them a skilled trade. We need to do a better job of that and have multiple pathways for kids to get the skills that they need.
Okay, right now the last numbers I saw from the chamber is like about 40,000. There are 40,000 job listings, then people filling those. What can be done right now?
Two things, really. It's a supply and demand issue, right? You got to end up with more people in the workforce, and then the ones that are here, you've got to do a better job of training them. And so we're really have a number of different ideas that we want to present to the commission on how to address the supply and the demand side. So on the demand side, we can do things to lower jobs on the lower end of the wage scale or the technical scale. We can use automation and technology and then upskill the people who would have been doing those jobs to train and use the automation, right? That lowers the demand for some of those jobs on the low end. And then we got to do a better job of, frankly, getting people here. We need to encourage our colleges and universities to bring in more out-of-state students. We need to work on immigration reform at the national level to bring in more immigrants that can come work here. And so you really got to kind of attack it from both ends. And that's how we're going to solve that gap. We don't have the number of people that we need to grow the economy that our businesses could grow, so we've got to bring in more people.
Is the broadband solution, which is being worked on, Mike Sanders and those folks over at the broadband office, it's just now up and running. Does that play a big role?
Absolutely, particularly when you're trying to implement technology in some of the solutions and talk about automation and technology in some of these manufacturing facilities. You got to have broadband access for those. And so that's a huge part of it. And it also helps with the training and skill development all around the state. If you have access to high-speed quality broadband, makes that much easier.
How fast can you implement this Senate Bill 621? The governor, you're working with them, and the state chamber are very involved in this in the lead. What's next?
Really clearly, the governor and the legislature have been very keen on helping us get this done. The legislature has 6 of the 9 appointments. The governor has 3. Governor appoints the chair. We're working with them right now so that in July, when this bill officially becomes law, we can hit the ground running, get a chairman named by the governor, and off and running they can go with a number of different initiatives. They've already got a pool of money that's been set aside for them, so we've got some initial funding. We think you can start seeing some really good results in the next 6, 9, 12 months and prove to the legislature, frankly, that this was the right option to do it, and let's give them more money and charge them with more responsibility to work with our state career and training providers and do some great things for Oklahomans.
So this has been a very successful session, but there are all other things on your agenda that you want that didn't get done. Legislature may be coming back for a special session on taxes. What right now, after 621 successes, is most important to the state chamber and, frankly, to the business community in Oklahoma?
You bet. Tax reform definitely is. We partner with the Tax Foundation out of D.C., a nonpartisan think tank, to develop the most comprehensive plan to take Oklahoma's tax code from 35th to top 10 in terms of most economically competitive to drive more business and innovation investment. The legislature did a great job and passed in eliminating the franchise tax this year, but that was one of 4 things that we want to see them also get done. We believe if they come back and do those things, we will have one of the top 10 most competitive tax codes in the country, and that just speaks volumes about what we're doing to attract businesses here. So again, competitive workforce, low in a competitive tax climate, man, Oklahoma's sky's the limit. And we think the legislature is thinking about whether they want to come back and do that. We know the governor's keyed up about it. Good things could happen.
I want to get back to in your past a little bit. You've been around for a long time. You were there when Republicans took over the legislature back in the early 2000s. You've also worked in the energy field. We're watching what's happening in Oklahoma on energy, the HALO project. How important is this, the renewables, this sort of thing that's happening in Oklahoma, to the future of business in Oklahoma in a general climate?
I think it's critical. I mean, Oklahoma is always going to be an energy state. Like oil and gas is always going to be a significant part of what we do. But as we've seen, alternative energy sources are really becoming prominent in Oklahoma. What can we do to add more value to those solar and wind that are coming here? We just got the Enel plant that's going to be building solar panels over at the Port of Enola. Fantastic things for Oklahoma's economy because they bring manufacturing jobs, they bring technical jobs, engineering jobs, and all of those things are easy to expand into other industries. So we think energy as a core of Oklahoma industry is going to continue to grow, and it's not just oil and gas, it's these other things as well. It's a great time to be in Oklahoma and a great time to be in the Oklahoma energy business.
I know you're following this, and I wonder how important it is to business, and that is the topic of AI. Now we're seeing Congress get involved in this. There's a lot of troublesome aspects of this that people are concerned about, but also in terms of workforce development, right? AI, the state chamber's ideas about this and where you see this headed.
Well, I think mainly where our concerns would be, again, is not having the state and these states around the country come up with a patchwork of regulations as you deal with AI and data privacy and other things. What we want to do is really have those conversations at the national level so that businesses in Oklahoma aren't disadvantaged from taking advantage of this technology by a patchwork of regulations in a statewide construct. And so we'll stay engaged on that with our federal leaders. We know, for instance, on data privacy, Mark Wayne Mullen has shown a really strong interest in that and could be a leader in that. We need national solutions to those, and then Oklahoma has to address those things once we kind of have a national standard. But for Oklahoma to have its own AI or data privacy laws that are different than everybody else's, kind of counteracts all those other things that we're doing to attract businesses here. If they come here and now have much more liability to be able to go and do work in those fields, then that just hurts Oklahoma. So our biggest thing will be a national focus on what does that regulatory environment look like, and then let Oklahomans compete in that space.
Last, you were at State Chamber during the pandemic. You've seen what has happened to the healthcare workforce in Oklahoma. It's very tough. As you look at healthcare issue and the workforce development, are you confident we're going to start to see more nurses, more workers, that we can get the healthcare field, more folks that can help in that regard?
Absolutely. And again, I think that's, again, one of the kind of the key attributes of 621 is when we had this nursing crisis, we didn't have anybody we could go to say, who's the best at delivering these nurses? Now, every university and career tech and everybody was running up there, and they all have good programs, but there was nobody to call balls and strikes and to really understand what the capabilities of all these systems were. Again, this Senate Bill 621 and the Workforce Commission can handle that. So, for instance, my new chairman, Kevin Gross, the CEO of Hillcrest Hospital in Tulsa, has 100 open nurses positions right now. So there's clearly more of a need, but we need to make sure we understand what those nurses are, and then students need to know how the different programs that I can get into, how efficient are they, how costly are they, to get me into the workforce. And again, Workforce Commission working with the healthcare system can really do a good job of articulating to students, here's a pathway on how to get these great jobs that are open right now.
Last question. That was supposed to be the last one, but it wasn't. How soon do you think we'll see a Vince Lombardi or a Patty Gasso type in charge of this committee and moving down the road?
I'm hoping by the end of the year. I'm hoping, and I believe, I know that the legislature believes this, the governor believes this. Workforce is the most important issue to the business community right now. Let's go out, find the best person we can, put them on the team, start building that team. But really, to emphasize, we've got great people in the workforce space in our career tech system, our higher ed system. We just need somebody to come in and coordinate them, be innovative with programs, and then draw funding from federal, state, and private sources, put the money together in programs that are innovative, and Oklahoma can have a top 10 workforce, and we can be a place that people want to come because of our workforce, and we think we can do it in the next year.
Chad Warmington, a lot of people counting on this.
Me too.
Thanks for all you're doing on this.
You bet.
Congratulations to the governor, legislature, and that commission for getting this done.
You bet.
Thanks for watching Hot Seat. See this entire interview at Mitchell Talks, but also at news9.com/yourvotecounts, and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn at Mitchell Talks.